Hi, I hope all is well with you. Have you ever thought about tasting your cup of coffee or actually having a tasty cup of coffee with a no bloom recipe? It's possible, I believe it is, but why? Let's back it up. Why will we do a bloom in our coffees, especially when we're talking about pour overs? I think it allows the coffee to get agitated initially. It's not rushing the brew. I think it does able to develop some type of initial flavors, but let's just say that you just didn't want to do it that way. Do you think that is actually possible to actually have a tasty cup of coffee with a no bloom method? So how would we go about this? Since we're not blooming and we want to make the coffee as tasty as possible, I think some of the things that I would change is the temperature. I think just for being kind of crazy with it, and I think it does work, is brew the coffee at 170 degrees. Okay. I think that will probably give us enough time to actually extract the coffee as much as we can, because something about that 30 seconds, 40 seconds, or whatever, how long you really do bloom, it does something to the coffee to bring out the best in the coffee. So I think 170 degrees will allow us to probably bring something out of it, but in a way to where I think that we're not over extracting the coffee at that low of a temperature. And the other thing is that we're gonna have to do a couple of center pours and also some circle pours, because I want to make sure that we're able to extract as much as we can with this coffee, because for the most part, this is gonna be a continuous type of brew. So we're gonna have to make sure that we are giving the coffee as much time as possible in order to make a decent cup of coffee. We'll see if it's possible. Finer grind. Okay, we're gonna do a finer grind on the coffee, probably a couple clicks finer than what you traditionally will do on a cup of coffee, especially if it's a pour over Harvey 60 or a Kalita Wave or whatnot. And the reason why I want to go with that, because again, I'm just trying to extract as much as I can possibly. So we're gonna try those out and we're gonna go from there. So with that being said, here is our cup of coffee. Okay. Can't really tell the grind size, but I didn't want you to see what I'm dealing with right now. This is a medium roast. And remember, no bloom, okay? You're gonna do 20 grams of coffee in, and then we're going to do 300 grams of water. Here we go. And of course, a slower pour. That also helps, I believe. Having a gooseneck does help. Remember, we're just trying to make sure we extract as much as we can from this coffee, since we didn't do like the bloom. Slow it down a little bit more. Remember, we're taking this all the way up to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. 300 degrees, 300 grams of coffee. And this is an experiment for me too. I wonder if it's actually possible. And I'm just using all the things that I know about coffee and brewing and extraction in order to see if this is really possible. Because I truly do believe that most recipes do work. There we go. That's 300 degrees. There we go. That's 300 grams of coffee inside. And that was, I think, more so like a fast brew, but whatever. We're not doing time right now. We're just trying to make a good cup of coffee, and we're gonna see if it's possible without the bloom and everything, okay? So, bed is even, as you can see. All right. We're not gonna do a TDS. We're just gonna use our palates, okay? To see if it's actually tasty. Mix it through. Get our cup. There we go. And let's enjoy, okay? Okay. It's okay. It's not as vibrant as I would like it to be, but I think more so the flavors are there. I think they can be amped up a little bit more. So, did we complete our challenge? or our possibilities of seeing if this is possible? I think so, but there are some tweaks that we can make for this in order for us to truly really get what we want out of this coffee with this particular recipe. I think I'll actually go a lot finer and bump up the temperature to like 180, 185. Because the flavors are there, but it's not as round and full body as it can be as I've tasted this coffee, okay? So yeah, the bloom is very important. It does bring out the best in the coffee, I believe. It allows you to, I don't know what it really does. Nobody really does. Everybody says it does gases, it does all this stuff, but at the end of the day, if it works, it works. Sometimes, this is even coming from an engineer background. Sometimes if it works, it just works. We can try to explain it as much as we can, but at the end of the day, if it's tasty with the bloom, that's why we do it. And I believe it is possible to actually have a good taste of cup of coffee when we don't bloom. There's a lot of like automatic drip machines that don't bloom, and they're able to produce decent cup of coffees. And I believe it's more so possible with the grind size, because the grind size allows you to, so to speak, slow down the roast, slow down the brew. And when you do that, you're able to extract a little bit more out of the coffee than you typically do. So that's what I got for you. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you learned, if you did learn anything at all. So we'll go from there. If there are any more questions or things that you would like me to try out, I'm all here for you. All right, talk to you later. This is Oki at Everyday Beans signing out.